Ready to go. Hey, Ron, I've got. Semifinals are here. We are going late into the night. It is 11:30, and the player who is going to be the national champion still has 2 rounds to play. Top 4 happened. The undefeated Jessica was defeated by Felipe. Joe Peters was knocked out of the top 8. Daniel MacArthur was knocked out of the top 8, as well as Marcel the Goat, which leaves us with Andrew Taylor, Ricky Sauceda, Felipe, who just won his last match, and now I'm completely spacing on who the other person in the top 8 is. Thomas Keene. What a great top 8. We have multiple regional winners. Andrew Taylor, who won the Battle of Boston a couple years back, only been on the scene probably the least out of everybody in the top 8, with the exception of maybe Felipe, but Felipe has the advantage of having played when he was younger, where Andrew Taylor found the game through his dad now as an adult. Both excellent competitors here, and both just real nice guys. Andrew Taylor, we have not seen on camera yet today. Another player running the Sheriff of Nottingham. So 2 Sheriff of Nottinghams in the top 8 when he was nary a deck the rest of the season. We do have another Joan of Arc, Morgan Le Fay, Wicked Witch stack. And I have to say, another big development in the meta that we have to comment on is the amount of decks we've seen with Morgan Le Fay today. She was being slept on the entire season. I kept talking about how insanely powerful she is, and we really saw that meta flip. Ricky is playing his deck that he went undefeated with in the last tournament. He had won 14 in a row with this deck in competitive play until he took his first loss today, but he has still managed to top 8 in a pretty high seed. Andrew Taylor was second. Ricky was a little further down the list, so Andrew is choosing whether to go first or second. But Ricky has certainly got the experience with this deck, having piloted it through so many victories. I love seeing characters like Carson of Venus, who did not get a lot of attention at first and were sort of overlooked, being such a powerful part of this meta. Ricky has a teamwork. He's got the cloud surfing. He doesn't get the draw off it yet, but it's still a full team avoid. He's got a smattering of power cards, a 2 multi that can create speed, as well as Dwar Juan Mintep, the card for Carson of Venus, which allows him to shift any attack he wants to it, and it takes the hit for him. As you know, with the rules, any hits that have a secondary effect for being successful, success only triggers when you hit a character. On Andrew Taylor's side of the board, he opens up with all of his premier defense. He's got the Harness the Wind from Wicked the Witch to shift the hits. He's got the negate off Morgan Le Fay. He's got the protection of St. Michael, and he's going up against a deck that's half combat. He goes 2, Ricky goes 1. And as much as Andrew Taylor's got that defense, I really don't think this is a fight that he wants to fight. I don't think he wants to use up all that defense and try to win the venture with a 1 and ally card showing, and doesn't even have an offensive special showing, as well as a 2 multi. They're great for premier defense. They're great for creating spectrum on the offense, but I just don't know, other than trying to create KO pressure, if he's got what it takes to pull this out. So he's throwing the ally. He's only got 2 cards in hand. Maybe we're going to see an offensive Harness the Wind hand 1 here. He throws that. Ricky blocks with the 6. So he gets one of his place cards for one of his place cards, but he does get it up. And he does have a special in his hand. He's just going to throw the Enlightened one, which is a 7 intelligence attack. Ricky's got 1 card in hand, so he's either got to block it and reveal he's got no cards left in hand, or use the Full of Void on Sun Wukong. He opts to take the hit, which is not surprising. He goes ahead and he gets Mintep out, and Andrew's going to negate it as it's played, and he says, nah, I'm not going to give the Monkey King that kind of defense. I think if I'm Andrew, I'm going to be pretty happy getting that 7 out, using up a couple of good cards, and I'm going to get out of dodge here, but Andrew says, nah, I'm throwing that 2 multi. I'm going to, again, put you to the decision of emptying your hand or using a Full of Void. And then he's probably going to throw something else after that from his hand and just count on either his defense or his ability to take a couple of hits. Ricky says, I take it. And what does Andrew do here? He doesn't really want to throw the 1, although he could. He's going to say, I'm going to throw Shapeshifter's Guys as a 3 for the kill and force him to use that Avoid. And Ricky loses his Full of Void and his Mintep in the first hand. He's taken 2 hits on Sun Wukong. He's got a horrible Spectrum set up. And he's going to try to use the Grim Reaper, and he's going to get a 1 and 2 of the training cards. Not really what Ricky's looking for out of a Grim Reaper either. I think if Andrew concedes right here, he's going to lose 2 Venture, but I think he's very happy with how that hand went. To get out from under the Reaper and lose 2 training cards and a 1, to still have your Harness the Wind and your Protection of St. Michael, and to have the Monkey King set up for a Spectrum KO, I don't really think it gets much better than that. A lot of thinking going on here, and Andrew does what I think is the play, and he says, all right, Ricky, you've earned your 1. Andrew's quick to draw his next cards and say, let's just get away from that first hand. I'm ready to go back to the battlefield with a fresh new hand of cards. So Ricky's got 2 extra placed cards. They're not huge on Venture. He does have the Teamwork and the 7, but he's got a low 3 and a 2 multi, and he's still staring down the barrel in hand 2 of both Harness the Wind and Protection of St. Michael. He's going to dupe on his 7. So the 7 energy is over there, but we know that's 1 less 7, and the Monkey is still set up for the Spectrum KO. So look for, Ricky's going to really hope he draws Grasp of the 5 Elements to be able to get those 2 hits off Sun Wukong. Andrew places a dead 9 this battle unless he draws Shapeshifter's Guys off Morgan Le Fay. He doesn't place it. He puts a Teamwork down. Ricky's got 3 Teamworks placed, and Ricky's deck seems to be showing that he's not shying away from these Teamworks, even though they're only a level 4 attack and the bonuses have been lowered from Legacy. He's saying, yeah, that doesn't bother me. I'm gonna fill these out. British Army Surgeon is a great card. It does let him remove a hit from permanent or current battle, but being able to remove that 2 multi off Sun Wukong right now is going to be clutch. Andrew Taylor gets a 6 energy placed. He's got the 7, and Ricky is continuing to put lower tier cards down, but he's got a lot of Spectrum and a lot of chaining ability now. I think if I'm Andrew, I'm going to hope that Ricky overcommits on a bet. I can play the Harness the Wind. I can filter the hits wherever I need to, and I can just beat him with raw KO pressure. Now, British Army Surgeon, I believe, only allows Dr. Watson to remove a hit from a teammate. I'm going to double check the Oracle text here and confirm that's the case. British Army Surgeon says remove 1 hit from Dr. Watson or teammate's permanent record, or hits from current battle, affects Venture total. So I am incorrect. So Watson can actually remove a hit from himself, or he can remove a hit, and he can remove it from current battle. So Andrew doesn't really gain anything by pressuring Watson specifically. Andrew goes 2. Ricky says, nah, I go run and 1 and run, and oh my God. That hurts Andrew so bad. Andrew is going to lose his early feminist leader. He's going to lose the fairy protection. Wow, that is 2 big cards to lose there. And that is Andrew really wanted to fight that battle. I think with those two cards and the amount of defense, Andrew had to go a minimum of 3 there. Even staring down the barrel of all those teamworks, he just needed to say, "This is the battle I have to fight. I'm gonna take this harness to win, and I'm gonna win this 3 venture no matter what. And I'm gonna have 5 cards in the top." He is going to have to discard taxes, showing he's playing at least 2 specials for Sheriff of Nottingham. And that's also a little bit of a tell for Ricky. I haven't seen Andrew Taylor's deck, but I'm imagining if he's running multiple 1 per decks that can't be played from reserve, he's probably running the event to bring the reserve character to the front line. That would allow him to throw one of those and reopen that slot, or even get lucky and spike a few of those cards the hand where he gets the event. Ricky's still got that big placing advantage, and now Andrew's got to shift gears and say, okay, well, I lost these bombs. I've controlled a little bit of the tempo. I did make Ricky run. I got to start placing and getting back in the game with the number of actions because Ricky is fully placed out. Ricky has 11 cards down. Other than something that's playable on Carson of Venus, he's essentially filled out every placing slot on the board. Now, he doesn't get the venture from the 11 off Sun Wukong, uh, but he's still got himself in a great position here. Ricky's big worry here is going to be some kind of a big teamwork string that'll get an energy hit over the top. Energy is the primary color of Andrew's deck. If he can throw an off-color teamwork, say from Joan of Arc, throw a low hit, and then give an 8 a boost to a 9, he's got a really good chance of taking out Sun Wukong if he's got 2 hits afterwards that are kill shots. It looks like Ricky is sitting on his legendary escape to help keep a character alive. Ricky's counting his cards. Ricky has come a long way from the gentleman we saw trying desperately to make his 25 avoids for Jubilee deck work and losing a finals where he definitely could have won that tournament, not understanding yet that a offensive negate can be defensively negated. You know, fast forward to about 2 years later, and Ricky's going undefeated at a regional against the best players in the world, coming to a nationals, making the top 4, and sitting with a pretty decent sized lead about 15 minutes into the game. Ricky's really debating on if he wants to bet this 2 or not. He says, you know what? I'm going to go 2. Or he went 3. He went 1 from the top, 2 from the middle. That was the thought. Andrew draws the card. It looks like it's a keeper, unless he's trying to decide which one he's going to discard. And Andrew is going to say, I'm going first. Let's start with that ally. Now, unfortunately, he was not able to get early feminist leader and player. That his allies would be coming across as 5s. And that is, again, such an unfortunate hand. Not getting that in is an unbelievably painful blow to Andrew's deck. Andrew's just probably waiting to get the Gemini. He's got to get through that negate so he can get the Gemini, Gemini out early feminist leader, and try to turn this thing around. Sun Wukong is going to block the 4. Andrew's going to play a card. He's going to go for the duality. And I'm assuming he's going to say to duality the negate. Ricky's going to negate it. Now, it's important that Ricky negates it because if he was to just discard it from the effect of the duality, then Andrew would also get to draw a card. Ricky knows in the situation he's in where he's up about, 6 placed cards that he really just wants to play everything from his hand force Andrew to run or use his place cards without giving away the huge advantage built up this entire game. Nope, and he's doing it. He's finally using the British Army Surgeon. He's getting rid of the 2 multi. And unfortunately, Mr. Sun Wukong, one of the unkillables, is continuing to live up to his name. He got rid of the negate. And this puts Ricky in a tough position. Ricky knows what he's getting. We all know what he's getting. He's getting early feminist leader. Unless he's got some kind of amazing, clever trick play, that card could turn this entire match around for him. And Ricky does not have access to a negator other than the Merlin that he just got rid of. So Ricky went 3 here. He's probably not giving it up, but Ricky could really shock us here. If I'm Ricky and I'm in this situation and he just Gemini'd, I think I concede here. I think I would just give him the hand and say, you know what? I don't care. If that hits, both players have to reveal their hand. He's going to let it go through, and Ricky is just going to choose to discard the early feminist leader again. I would have put the Harness the Wind in play, forced Ricky to lose his 3 and blocked it with a 6, and then tried to make him discard the 11. Does Ricky, did he go for the 8? They might be calling a judge here. It looks like Andrew's saying, I didn't realize that you had Baker Street and you got to discard a card, or I would have just shifted and blocked. This is a tough situation. Unfortunately, I think Andrew's going to be a little out of luck here because, well, Ricky's being nice and he's going to let him do it. And that's why I love this Overpower community. Ricky already showed his hand. He didn't have to do this, but he's being a gentleman and he's saying, you know what? I want to win the right way. Put your shift in play and defend with the 6. Also good to know why Doc Watson is such a powerful card with 221B Baker Street. He gets +2 to venture every battle, and he has multiple cards that reveal cards from the opponent's hand and make them discard. And now he's going to say, I'm going to get the earliest feminist leader in play. I'm going to throw the 8 as a 10 at Sun Wukong. And Ricky's not going to be able to defend. Ricky can play Legendary Escape, though, and put it on a different character. And that's not a terrible move here. The question is, who does he put it on? I think he's going to put it on Watson. And this is where, even though Ricky wants to maintain that placing lead, I'm just going to fire off the machine gun at this point. I'm going to go Sun Wukong Teamwork. I'm going to do the 3 energy. I can't remember if Doc Watson, what his energy rating is. He does use guns, which we stick with the old interpretation of the game where a lot of guns are a little bit combat or a little bit energy. But let me double check. He does have a 2 energy. He cannot follow up with the well, I looked away to check that Oracle text, so I'm not sure exactly what we're looking at here. It looked like he showed Ricky his 2 cards. Watson can't throw the 3 as an energy teamwork follow-up, but he could throw it as intellect. So he could go combat teamwork, 3 multi as intellect, and then the 7 would come through. And I believe that's an 8 combat teamwork. So the 3 would be a 4 and the 7 would be a 9. But nope, Ricky says, you know what? I'm going to get out of Dodge. I don't want to deal with your Harness the Wind. You got a couple hits in play, but Ricky, even though he runs, he's maintaining that placing advantage. The hits are getting tucked to permanent record, and the two players are drawing their next hand. Now, we've not seen Andrew Taylor's Grim Reaper. We haven't seen Avalon's Warmth, which could be a big heal for the Wicked Witch, and he hasn't played his Protection of St. Michael yet, which is extremely good against this deck. Andrew Taylor is by no means out of this game. He's really managed to control the Venture this entire time. Ricky has been a master at keeping his placing advantage and not losing it. He's been keeping his entire board filled the entire game. Really impressive placing game by Ricky here. And Ricky learned from the best, you know. Ricky's been playing with Josh Alexander. Ricky used to play plenty against Phil Miller and some of those guys. Ricky's somebody who's always watching the matches and making sure he sees what everybody does. And I think that's really, you know, a lot of the older legacy players comment about how the entire field is so good and so hard to get through now. And honestly, I think the footage and being able to watch all the game footage is a big part of that. People watch the different plays and the placing strategies, and they see how much it matters every little bit of card advantage you get. And you start to notice these players. I mean, Ricky is basically playing exactly the way we always saw Phil Miller play. Get all of your 11 cards placed out, you know, and just play from hand as much as you can, and just don't even touch those cards if you don't have to. Now, Andrew bets first. He let Ricky touch the missions, see what he was thinking. But Andrew only goes one. Andrew's got his negate place. He's really happy to see that. But man, Ricky just restocks those teamwork cards. And Ricky is running this deck just like it's a legacy deck. He's putting teamworks down. He's got big power cards down. The only thing Ricky's really short on is he doesn't have anything other than power cards placed that are defensive, and he's double checking, saying, "Oh yeah, that seven's coming across as a 9. That Shapeshifter's Guise is coming across as a 5. That 7 can be thrown as intelligence and be +2 because it's intelligence attacks. That can come across as a 9." And I think Ricky is starting to realize when he spied on that hand, maybe he just shouldn't have let that come back. That was such an important card. All right. Andrew throws a teamwork out. It's only going to be a 4. It's energy. It's not affected by early feminist leader, but it is above the 3 that Dr. Watson had placed. Ricky's only got about 4 cards in hand, so that's an uncomfortable thing for him. And this is what Ricky's going to realize is Andrew can start mathing this out now. Every single card I throw above a 3 right now, you have to defend with something from your hand. Ricky uses his 6, the highest power card that he has, for Dr. Watson. Andrew Taylor has 2 follow-up attacks. One has to be combat, one has to be intellect. Wicked Witch is not representing a very high combat attack. He's probably got the 7 he can throw as a 9 through Joan of Arc, but the question is, does he have another follow-up to create that KO pressure? He does have the 2 through Wicked Witch. He draws a 4, which is exactly what that is. Now that's the thing. He threw it against Sun Wukong. Had he thrown it against Watson and just stuck with his gut, he would have actually got the kill on Watson right there. I think that was a little bit of a misplay. I think I would have just focused everything on Watson, the guy he knows he has to have the 4 or the 5 in hand, and it has to be power cards he can play. But you know what? Look, he went for the big shot there. He thought maybe he could get him to use the 8, and it just didn't quite work out the way he wanted. However, look at the look on Ricky's face. He knows he can't stop the 9. So he's like, well, do I try to throw a teamwork and kill Wicked Witch? And if I fail, not to mention the fact that Protection of St. Michael, he's got that there for anything with a combat icon. Andrew's trying to think. Do I use the protection now? No, I let it hit. Here comes another 4. Does he use it now? He's still staring down the barrel of 2 teamworks and an 8. Those teamworks can also be followed up by that 7 energy. He really doesn't want to get in a position where that 7 energy goes over the top on Morgan Le Fay. This may be a situation where you suboptimally use the negate and just guarantee he can't make another follow-up. But then again, he's almost certainly wants to save it for the 11, which does count to venture right now. Ricky must have some kind of a defense in his hand for the other 7 if he's letting it go through like this. And again, they are playing on an hour time limit, so we've already played almost 30 minutes of Overpower this round, and we are not even at halfway. And this is a tough card. That is an annoying hit going at Morgan Le Fay. It's only a little 2, but he's shown if he had in 2 that he could easily defend. He would have defended the 2 multi. He does have the legendary escape, which is, that's a really nice time for that. He shifts the 2 over to Joan of Arc, takes off that KO pressure. That's the end of Ricky's turn. What does Andrew want to do back? If I'm Andrew, I'm throwing the 5 combat at Doc Watson. And if it hits, I'm throwing the 7 probably over at Sun Wukong. Oh my God, I completely forgot about that. He can throw the 9 off Sheriff of Nottingham with the 3s, and that is exactly what he was trying to do. And he goes over the top. And Andrew says, you know, I also could have thrown the 7. So even though you forgot I could do that, no big deal. But the monkey goes down, and that is, that might be devastating to what Ricky has going on, where he's also got Watson at a place where if he stays in, Andrew knows the 7's going to kill Watson and take 2 more of his place cards. I just don't think Ricky can stay in this battle. I think he has to just concede. He can't try to use Hades and risk him negating it and shooting off another attack. He's gonna throw a teamwork. That's got to be from Wicked Witch. And he's got the confusion, the disorient. Oh my God, that is not what he wanted to see. Andrew Taylor, is he gonna throw the 7 as a 9 and kill Watson? And that's gonna be 4 placed cards that we would have got rid of off off that. He has nothing placed. He has one card in hand. That is the one card in hand enough to defend a 9, and he let Sun Wukong die. I mean, this is almost certainly a kill shot here. I can't tell if they're sitting still or my screen's frozen. Oh, there they go. They're laughing a little. I mean, I don't see how you don't throw the 9 here. I mean, I guess if you whiff. Yep. Oh, Ricky sees it. 2 characters down. What a brutal shift of a game for the Prodigy. He's annihilating him on Venture. He's got a negate play still. Even if he loses a character at this point, does it even matter? And Ricky can't even pressure him that much more. If he's got anything, if that card in hand has a combat icon, the protection of St. Michael is going to do it. He's going to throw the 7. Almost certainly he's going to kill Morgan Le Fay. But I think he's more than happy to make that trade. And I think he's going to stay in it and just trade some blows at this point. And he's got the Reaper. He says intellect. He gets rid of the 7. Ricky can't throw the teamwork. He's got a Hades and 1 card in hand. He's losing on Venture. Does no, I'd let him do it. I'd let him do it. Look, you get rid of it. They weren't going for much Venture. He had a Wicked Witch discard a placed card in hand. Ricky had a dead Staff of the Monkey King. Ooh, man, I really felt like Ricky had such a commanding lead going into that hand, and it really shows you how one bad hand, one shift in it can really shift the whole game. And look, kudos to Ricky for being a nice guy and everything, but I really think the flip in this game is trying to overcome that early feminist leader. I know I really respect the being a nice guy and letting people take something back. At the same time, Andrew is playing in the Nationals, and I think maybe you got to park being a complete nice guy to the side. You revealed your hand. A misplay is a misplay, but we're moving on. And, you really don't get much more of a class act than Ricky. So great job with that. Maybe he still pulls it out. He does have a max 8. His grids are aligned with Carson of Venus. We're not in the power pack yet. Andrew drops an ally. He places a 7. Ricky gets his Harness the Wind. A lot less of a powerful card when you only have 2 heroes remaining. Ricky's got 6 cards left in his hand to Andrew's 3. Ricky does have the target character discard a placed card. I didn't see any trainings or allies for him to capitalize on. The flip side to that is those training cards that Ricky got rid of early on. The Wicked Witch's discard a placed card lets him go get those trainings in basic universes out of the dead pile. Let me double check the Oracle text on that before I speak too soon and get a bunch of angry emails telling me I had the card wrong. But let me just make sure it does actually get the training card. Oh no, it is only basic universe cards. I will have those silver shoes. Target character must discard 1 place card of Wicked Witch's choice. If successful, Wicked Witch may search her dead pile for any basic universe card, reveal it to opponent, and place it in hand. So it is not the training card. That's really important to know. Ricky does not have any missions in the completed pile. He's fighting a pretty uphill battle at this point, but he does manage to get some cards placed. Ricky's trying to decide. It looks like he's got a little bit of an advantage. He's got 4 in the middle, the rest in the bottom. He definitely wants to make a big bet here, but he also knows if he loses, he's pretty much going to put himself in an unwinnable position. He's got the Gemini in his hand. He's got the Harness the Wind. He doesn't have a lot of room to make the hits go anywhere. The question is, what does he get out with his Gemini if he plays at this battle? I'd say he's probably going to go for Mintep. Ricky bets 4. He gives Andrew 2 cards. This is 4 for the loss. Ricky wins this. He's in a commanding position. He loses this, and he loses the game and is knocked out of the tournament, and Andrew will go to the final table. I think Ricky sees the writing on the wall and says, hey, look, I'm not going to beat you with 2 characters in Power Pack. You've got as many placed cards. And he's just going to take that shot. Andrew plays the ally. He blocks with the 2. That's going to come across as a 6 because of the bonus from Feminist Leader. That's going to be really hard for the Wicked Witch to defend at this point. Ricky's going to say the Wicked Witch takes it. He's got 2 more attacks, a 7 energy from the Wicked Witch, no bonus from Feminist Leader, only for combat and intelligence. Andrew's also going to hope here, if he can force him in this battle to have to use his Harness the Wind, it's just 1 more bomb he's fought his way through in this deck. Ricky does play the Harness the Wind, and the 7 goes over on Carson. Now that takes away pretty much any chance Andrew has of KOing a character. So Andrew probably wants to just fight with what he can in his hand and then get out of dodge and not use up any more of his placed cards. Andrew's not sure what to do. He's leaning back and taking a long look at the board. And I think that's exactly what he's trying to decide. Do I give Ricky 4 missions to the completed? He's trying to Wicked Witch the protection of St. Michael. I don't know how good of a card that is anymore in this deck. He got rid of both of the combat characters, and I think he lets it go, and I think rightfully so, and he's going to concede. He gets out of the Gemini, the 4 make an additional attack, and the 5 multi. Ricky's strategy of risking the game but getting 4 to the completed pile pays off. And who knows, maybe that's exactly the kind of bold offensive aggression that's going to get Ricky back in this game. Ricky draws 8 cards. Andrew Taylor dupes on an 8. Ricky's definitely got some Sun Wukong in his hand. I see Grasp of the 5 Elements. I see Transformation Trickery, the Watson 7. He's got an 8. He's got at least 4 dupes in his hand. And Ricky is just going to immediately drop half his hand. And that's really the rub when half your team goes down. All we saw from Andrew Taylor was 1-8, meaning Andrew Taylor's going to be up 3 cards on Ricky this hand. I don't think we're going to see another bet 4 from him. Now, Ricky's got probably the last best hand he's going to have. That Telepathic Training is such a great card. And Andrew Taylor places an old gem from the past, a custom Magneto 8 energy that was a prize at a tournament well before Andrew played, and I have no idea how he got his hands on that card. He must have traded whoever won that at a fan tournament we had. God, it was actually, I can tell you exactly when it was, is the weekend before COVID shut everything down in the first Oklahoma tournament. Heimdall's great. It allows somebody to avoid an attack with a special, but he's not really looking at too much for specials. I guess he wants to save it for that Joan of Arc that can come across as a 10, that half multi. It does allow for an avoid and then draw a card. Hades is a great placement right now to Sheriff of Nottingham. Being able to get out of any big Hail Mary bet that Ricky does is huge. And Ricky does have his Disorient to stop one of the teamwork strings. Ricky's got, looks like maybe 1 card left in his draw pile. Sorry, Andrew does. Ricky's into the Power Pack. We've got about 20 more minutes left in this round. He's opening with telepathic resistance, and that is going to draw the negate. That would have revealed both cards in Andrew's hand. He would have discarded one. Baker Street would have discarded one. And that's finally enough for Andrew to say, nah, you're about to go in your power pack. There's not going to be a better time. Let's do the negate. Now, unfortunately, I think what Andrew wants to do here without knowing what he's got in his hand is play the 3 and then go right into the 10 attack. That's going to come across as a 5. Ricky does have a 5 any power in his hand, so he can block it. And then I think you're going to see the 10 come across here, and the Heimdall is going to avoid it. And Ricky is happy about this. He's going to say, well, that's my Cataclysm. I avoid it. I draw a card. It is, oh my God. He had to reveal it. It is the Wicked Witch 8 multi. Well, he decides to attack with it right away, but I don't know if he's realizing that he can declare that 6 as intelligence. And Andrew, being the gentleman that he is, I think just reminded him of that. And that's nice considering Ricky gave him the big take back earlier. Now he can throw it over on Wicked Witch and try to use up the 8, and that's exactly what he decides to do. Andrew thinks about it and he says, yeah, I'll bite. I don't know what's in Andrew's hand, but remember, that Hades is always an option here. So is the teamwork. Nothing like building up a lot of cumulative KO pressure, but Ricky's last card is the Confusion. Andrew's got 2 cards in hand. Ricky doesn't really have any way to KO a character. Even if all 3 of his cards hit either character, it will not equal a KO. So Ricky has no KO pressure. Andrew can literally ignore him and just hurl everything back at Wicked Witch. He can set Wicked Witch up with a minimum of 14 cumulative damage plus whatever's in his hand. I just don't think there's a world where Ricky doesn't immediately run from this fight. I mean, even Ricky wanting to try to pressure his other Wicked Witch on Andrew's team, he can't really do it. The 1 doesn't create any pressure. Getting 12 points with another 3 is only 15. I don't think it's worth, like, he doesn't want to go hit for hit here. Andrew will gladly trade the Wicked Witch for a Carson of Venus with a 7 versus 2 full characters. And Ricky says, now I'm done. I'm out. Andrew's last 2 cards looks like was a 5 multi and something else that I missed. Andrew has 1 card from his main deck. I think Ricky has 4 cards from his main deck, and then he's in power pack. So he may have a little more heat, but I can't imagine. I don't think there's any more cards for Carson of Venus. And we've pretty much seen everything from the Wicked Witch as well. Unless Ricky's running like a 4 energy that he just got and he can lock her out for the turn, which would be a pretty miraculous thing. Well, he's got his Freya. He's got his 6 any power teamwork. And I can't tell what his other special card is. It is a Dr. Watson shift, and he has to get rid of it. He's checking for his dupes. He's got a dupe 5. We see a dupe 4 come across over on Andrew's team. And we've got some placing going. All right, Andrew has got the 8 placed. He's still got the Hades, so he only goes 2. He's keeping that Hades in play in case he wants to get some hits out and then run. He's got an ally, he's got a teamwork, but they're both going into power pack. That ally may be dead other than to play the Hades. Ricky goes 2 from the top. All right, Ricky's here to play. Also, what he doesn't want to forget is that Andrew still has that training card placed on Spartan Training Ground. And if he kept a 4 multi, that's an 8 that can come right at Carson of Venus and put a multi-power hit on him. Ricky decides to go 4, and he gives Andrew 2 draws from his power pack. They're both duplicates. And Andrew probably knew that playing the odds here. So he's making another big bet, sort of betting on the fact that in the power pack there is not a lot of variety, and Andrew's more likely to hit. But at the same time, Ricky can't stop his Hades. He may go ally right into Hades and just say, "Yeah, forget you. Bet 4 again." Like let me stock up on even more power cards. Ricky uses the 3 multi, and exactly like he said, "You know what? I'm just gonna Hades. You got a good hand." Oh, and he gets rid of the Freya. He drops his multis, his 1 and his 7, and just says, "You know what? We're gonna go right to the power pack, and we're gonna just fight this. We're gonna grind this out and fight this in the power pack." There's 13 minutes left before last hand is even called. And this is just a grind from both players. Both players are doing everything they can to win this. Now, I already see some dupes in Ricky's hand. He's got to get rid of the 8 combat. That's unplayable. He's got to get rid of the both 6 combats. Those are both unplayable. He's got to get rid of the 7 combat. And this is going to be a pretty rough hand for Ricky. And he's got a dupe 4. So those all go to the dead pile. Boom. Now we've got to look at dupes. I've got a dupe 4. I'm going to keep the 4 multi. That's what Ricky's saying in his head. Ricky's sitting on a 3, a 4, a 7, a 1, and a 6. Andrew Taylor looks to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in his hand and two power cards placed. That means he's only looking at 1 duplicate to Ricky's 5. I think you're going to see Andrew make kind of an insane bet here. We may actually see Andrew go 5 for the win here. He's only got 2 in the bottom. He's only going to give Ricky 3 cards. The odds of Ricky keeping all 3 are extremely low. And remember, if he wants to just win on venture, he throws an 8 at Carson of Venus, it's going to hit. He throws another 8 using a training card, it's going to hit. He's going to generate a minimum of 12 damage, kill Carson of Venus, probably get either the power card or the teamwork card off him to swing at another 6 venture. I think Andrew might be waiting for him to use those teamworks, but I just don't know if I think that's the best strategy. Andrew says, "I'm going to go 2. I'm going to bring this to the middle. I'm going to leave myself for a 3 bet next time." And we are about to see what's probably going to be the deciding battle of the tournament. Teamwork attack on Wicked Witch is going to be a hit, a low 1 power card. It's going to be blocked with a 1. Now remember, Ricky's combat and intelligence actions are +2. There's so many ways he can throw cards to get up to an 8 or higher. Let's see what he throws next. He's reaching for the 8. Carson of Venus. That's an auto hit. He knows it. We've got a 6 here. Now this can be blocked with a 4 if it's in the right suit, like intelligence. He sends another 6 over. That's for the kill. This is going to draw a 5 as an intellect. It's +2. Now, if he had any power cards in there for characters that would matter if Carson of Venus died, I'm trying to think. He mostly had Sun Wukong and he had Watson. So other than his combat cards, I don't think he's going to lose as much. That's for the kill. It is coming through the energy grid, so it doesn't get a bonus. It is only a 6, but it is cumulative. And Andrew might win this just off pure ability to take more hits than his opponent. Carson of Venus goes down. That 7 energy is going to go back into his power pack. He's going to get another attack, probably with a lower power card from his hand, but he can throw 2 of any power card as follow-ups. He's going to want to pressure Wicked Witch and just try to give her hits that are going to kill her, but it also looks like he has some combat icons that aren't going to be great for Spectrum. He's going to throw a 3 intelligence, does not get a bonus. Blocked with another 3 intelligence. He can make a 3rd attack. Right, he's going to try to get him to 6. That can be thrown through intelligence and is an 8 to block. So Andrew knows it's going to hit. And this is, I think, just a matter of time at this point. Ricky just can't deal with the bonuses off early Feminist Leader. He's going to block with the 7. They've both got 1 card. Now, Andrew, I think he throws it. Look, he's got a lot of venture out on the board. He doesn't want to give a big venture win. And even if he loses, just get Wicked Witch 1 step from death. And as soon as you get a 7, you know you win the game. That's it. That's all you do. Even if you lose Wicked Witch here, a 7 any power just wins you the game. Ugh, I disagree with that concede so much. Just so much. I would have got that. I would have snapped thrown that 4 multi out there as a 6, maybe even with the training, set him up for the death, and I wouldn't have even cared if Wicked Witch died. But look, now he may get the same effect in this hand. We've got a minimum of 7 minutes till we go to last hand. We've probably got 2 here. Ricky can just absorb an exorbitant amount of damage. He can throw the 8 out, fight the 8 on the 8. And then he's got another way to throw 8s and 9s with the Feminist Leader. I think Wicked Witch's days are numbered. Ricky looks to have drawn a pretty sweet hand here. It looks like he's got pretty much the full phone number. 1, 2, so 1, 3, 4, 5. Looks like he's got a dupe 4, and he's got every other number in the phone number. So that's going to be 7. It looks like over on Andrew's side of the board, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like he's got 7 as well. When you're this far behind like Ricky and you get a 7-card hand, the last thing you want to hear is that the other guy did too. Now, I don't know if Ricky's running more than 1, 2, but it's quite possible that that early 2 energy he put on Joan of Arc is keeping him from being able to get a perfect hand here. That 2 energy may be the only 2 energy he's running. Some people just don't like to run more than 1, 2. Ricky goes 4 for the win. He gives Andrew 2 cards. And Andrew keeps the any power one so he can throw it as a 9. Andrew pretty much has the game here. He throws the 8 energy. It gets blocked by the 8. The 8 goes on Sheriff of Nottingham. Sheriff doesn't have any kind of a boost, so that's an auto hit. meaning the 8 back is an auto hit, and now they're even on Venture. Now, Ricky does have, Andrew has to be worried about a karmic victory here. Ricky is going for the win. Ricky can let his character die as long as he's ahead on Venture. Venture is counted first, then KO matters, unless you're playing land that time forgot. So now at this point, oh, he's going to block with the 7. Does he have a 7 in hand? If he has a 7, the game is done, and he kills the Wicked Witch. What a great couple of competitors. What a tough game. Andrew the Prodigy Taylor pulls it out. That is one for the record books, everyone. That was a crazy game. Ricky seemed like he was so far ahead. One bad hand where Andrew managed to kill 2 people turned the game around. Andrew just leans on him and leans on him until he can pull it off in the end. And Ricky loses his last character. And Andrew pulls out the victory. Andrew will be going to our final table and be playing for $12,500. Thank you for joining us, guys. It is getting late. If you are still with us, it is 12:32 a.m. as we end the semifinal round. Stay tuned if you are up late with us because we're going to go right into that final round before you know it. I'm ready. I'm here. Let's do the final round. The finals. The final round. The last round of Columbus, Ohio. Am I on the air yet? It is 12:53 in the morning. Am I on the air? Surprisingly, not the latest tournament we've had, even though we had 63 players, 8 rounds of Swiss, and about an hour and a half delay as we got the software working. I'll say even a testament to the software itself, because had it not been some user error early on, we would have got this tournament started about an hour earlier, and probably would have been home by now, catching some Z's. Tell me when to go. Am I already live? All right, guys, we are at the end. I'm just rambling here. It's 12:30 at night. I've been here for about 16 hours. But it has been a blast. I can't think of a better way to spend a day. And we find ourselves in the final round. The OverPower card game, Columbus, Ohio, Season 0 Nationals, brought to you by us and our partner, Heroes and Games. Andrew Taylor doing a little pray to the gods here, playing his Omni-Man Philip Tan original art for OverPower playmat. Thomas Keene on the other side has just earned this Invincible playmat. And we've got a little Omni-Man versus Invincible action and our Nationals as a great preview to what's ahead, which is going to be a whole season coming up with those characters. Our launch for the Skybound set on shelf date is going to be August 15th, and we're going to add 36 characters from both Invincible, Walking Dead, the book Birthright, and the book Excellence. We've seen both of these decks multiple times today. We don't really need to do much of a review, but we do have 2 Wicked Witches and 2 Joan of Arcs in the finals. Very different than the no Sun Wukong, no Leonidas. Wicked Witch has really started to take over this meta. But I do have to give the big shout out. Cthulhu in the back position for Thomas Keene. Love to see it. We have not seen a lot of Cthulhu. And Sheriff of Nottingham, who's been almost non-existent in the meta the entire year, has made it in 2 decks into the top 8. I love how Andrew Taylor's using him. You know, I kind of missed the strategy early on, which is to use those Shapeshifters guys. Yep. So should I stop? Being told by the booth we had a little bit of a problem that we're just sorting out. We're going to ask them to take a quick pause. Okay, and we're back. A little bit of technical difficulty. So I was talking about the strategy that Andrew Taylor is employing, using Shapeshifter's Guise to be able to throw an ally, the Shapeshifter's Guise, and then follow up with some of the big attacks that Sheriff of Nottingham offers, including the 9 I Have an Army, taxes, which it can be an incredible venture swing like we saw earlier when it got rid of an 8. Both people are going to be using Harness the Wind. I will say we saw a lot of Wicked Witch today. We may have seen one in almost every feature match. So a character who saw nothing in playtesting, people were arguing was too weak, has now become the premier character on teams. And Andrew, right off the bat, says, I'm going to go 3. What do you do? Ethno-archaeology does not count to venture. Andrew probably doesn't have any teamwork, so Disorient is probably a dead card. And Hades is only good for him to run away. So that's 3 cards that don't generate any venture. And if he doesn't have any intelligence attacks in his current hand, nothing really gets locked out. Andrew's got to, I think that's exactly what he needed to do. Look, he didn't get to play his Avoid. He didn't get to play his Fairy Protection. But he didn't take any damage, and he won 3 venture. That puts him almost 50% of where he needs to be. He's at about 40% of the win just off that one hand. And he's not really behind on placed cards either. He's got 2 less cards placed overall, but he's got a power card, a couple of great allies, and duality lets him discard a card and draw a card. So until Thomas gets some kind of negate out there, that's really a built-in 2-for-1 on its own. Now, Thomas is pretty psyched to have drawn the Ethno-Archaeology early from Jane Porter. That's a card that can actually get rid of the Harness the Wind while it's still placed. It's not targeted. It can he can hold on to it till Early Feminist Leader is in play and use it to get rid of Early Feminist Leader. There's a lot that they can do with it. All right. We got a little bit of placing back and forth here. Thomas does have a couple of nice defensive options that are taking shape here. You know, Thomas certainly has some intelligence attacks that he wants to make, like using the 5 through the intelligence grid as a teamwork follow-up. Ronald, the booth, I'm still hearing the booth mic if you wouldn't mind muting that for me. Andrew Taylor goes 2. Got a lot of cards in hand. Thomas, you know, he's still got that Hades, and we don't see a negate over on Andrew's side of the board. So Andrew really isn't going to want to commit to a big bet, even with Harness the Wind. He's just going to have to keep going, and he's either going to have to try to discard that as a placed card or just deal with it when it's played. We get an ally. It looks like it's from Wicked Witch. And I think we're going to see the duality try to discard either the Hades or the Ethno-Archaeology. I'm not sure what he called. Looks like he said Hades. Nope, he's pointing at the Ethno-Archaeology. Not surprising that Andrew would get rid of that. He draws and reveals his own Disorient. Now, Cthulhu can throw the teamwork from the back as an intelligence teamwork, so that's a great draw for Andrew. Really slows down whatever offensive attack Cthulhu is going to throw from the back. And we really have to comment on Joan of Arc. It's really fun watching metas change and shift. Joan of Arc, clearly a top tier powerful character, one of the best 1-per-decks currently in the game, a long-term boost to female characters' actions, and went from seeing none of her in some early tournaments to her today really being a huge part of the meta. Now we've got a Grim Reaper on the table. What does Andrew have with all those cards in his hand to defend it? And they're both thinking. Now Andrew does have a bunch of cards in hand. He is only betting 2. This may just be a hand where he has to say, okay, call it, and I'm going to eat it, whatever's in my hand. Now remember last game, we also saw Andrew just discard 2 of his training cards to feed to it as well. I do like that Andrew's also using one of the training cards from the demo decks that we had at PAX. That is Andrea teaching, forgetting that character's name. I think it was started with a T. It might have been something that started with a T. I can't remember, but she's teaching him how to be a sniper. All right. Looks like brute force was called, and Andrew has to get rid of the. He gets rid of the Sheriff of Nottingham, and it looks like he had a 4 make an additional attack, and he's gonna go right back at Joe and go, "Hey, I've got the same card. I'm gonna Reaper you back." Early feminist leader looks like it's in play now, and Andrew's gonna say combat. And he's going to get rid of 2 low power cards and 8 multi. He's going to get all 4 with that too. The Grim Reaper is here. He's making his name known as he wipes out a bunch of cards on both sides of the table. Andrew is going to try to make, the Wicked Witch is going to try to make the Wicked Witch discard Harness the Wind. Now, Andrew doesn't want to lose that card, clearly. Worst case scenario, he could play it defensively, shift it to Joan of Arc and lose the 5. A little bit of a 2-for-1. But he's going to use the actual shift to do it. That is so clutch. He's got Legendary Escape. He shifts a single attack over to Joan, and he says, I'll get rid of the 5, and I don't even have to use my Harness the Wind yet. And now here's a 3. He could have followed that up with the 9, so kudos to Thomas Keane for knowing to call Brute Force. And I think that's what Andrew's laughing about, saying, yeah, I could have thrown that. Thomas doesn't have a lot in his hand, and I think he's a little bit regretting the position he's in right now. He's thinking a lot about a 3. He doesn't have his feminist leader out. He certainly doesn't want to lose Joan of Arc this early. Can he afford to let a second hit her? And he says, no, I'm going to use a full 7 power card to get rid of it. And now the question is, does Andrew have a follow-up? And he's going to make him discard the Hades. And that's going to be successful as well. Andrew has shredded the placing advantage that Thomas had. And he's sitting on both a power card and a Harness the Wind, and has no hits left on his characters. Yet. No hits yet on any of his characters. The question here is, does he have a follow-up for that Cthulhu Teamwork? All right. Thomas is, there's $12,500 on the line, so Thomas definitely needs to think and consider what he's going to play. Interesting choice. He throws the 7 on the reserve, and that means it looks like it hits. That means when Sheriff of Nottingham would come to the front line, he has to skip a battle, and he can't come in until the following battle. And important to note, he could still play Harness the Wind if he wanted to. It's any attack made on a teammate may be shifted to any frontline character. But he opts not to. It looks like he takes One Eye, and One Eye's effect is that it pins him. Andrew's having a little fun. They both know that he has the Teamwork Avoid, which is why the Cthulhu Teamwork's a little bit dead. And Thomas says, nope, I've done what I came here to do. I've got to run away. He's got a Gemini at a not really the best time and a simple 2. Andrew's got a couple up to the top, and Andrew is within striking distance of being the first national OverPower champion in almost over 25 years. Thomas isn't going to let it happen, though. Thomas is one of the toughest competitors in the game now. He's really making a name for himself. Cthulhu puts one of his big chain cards, and Andrew gets his early feminist leader. Joan of Arc gets one of her chaining cards. We've got the 8 multi over on Andrew's side of the board. Card for card, he's definitely putting more venture on the board. An ally on Jane Porter. Andrew just turns it to the side and he says, that's the bet. I believe that's just 2. Thomas goes 2. We're betting for the win in the first national championship of OverPower in over 25 years. Could this be more exciting? That is coming across as a 10 either combat or 10 intelligence attack. And Thomas has the fairy protection. Draws the Cataclysm at the clutch time, locks out the Joan of Arc, can ignore some hits if he needs to, and now it's his turn, and let's see how hard he can hit back. Little John jumps out as an ally and tests the water. It's successful. Thomas Keene leads this hand by 3. Andrew actually says, no, I've got my +2 bonus. I'm going to block that 3 with a 1. Now, Thomas can play an additional special. He could play the Cthulhu 3, just has to discard a card. I'm curious, I forget what the Cthulhu 3. A frontline teammate must discard 1 card placed or in hand. I'll be honest, I'd have to call a judge to know if he can discard the placed one on the home base, but I think he can. I think the ruling is it's placed anywhere unless it specifically references it in cards. It says placed to them, but don't quote me on that. You're going to have to talk to David the Rules McMillan to get a final answer on that. Joan of Arc is throwing Inspirational Leadership. That's a 4 that allows her to make up to 2 teammates can make an additional attack, but only 1 single attack. If they were to play like the Cthulhu card, for example, you can't continuously chain. So any attack that grants more than 1 person an additional attack, we do cap that at 1 attack for each of those people as it calls out. And the rule in the game is you cannot continue to follow any of those traps. Just a quick refresher on the Joan of Arc card. I'm going to read it out loud. Inspirational Leadership acts as a level 4 combat attack. It actually says each frontline teammate may make 1 additional attack. The Cthulhu one's worded a little different because he can play it from reserve. And that is going to be the game. That's it. There's a little bit back and forth. They show their hands. And Thomas just does not have the venture to come up over the top. He puts out his hand for the handshake. What an amazing game. But Andrew just with authority comes out and wins it. And Thomas is going to take second place. Still nothing to shake his head at. These two fought for the entire day through an incredible team of competitors to be the first and second place, the best 2 players of OverPower in the nation for the first time in 25 years. This is just such a great thing to see. I really love that the newer players are becoming so good at the game. I don't believe Thomas or Andrew had ever played this game before a couple of years ago. And now they're beating veterans of the game that have been playing it for 40. And it's just such a great thing to see. And these 2 players know each other. They're both from the same area. Seattle really bringing so many clutch players. Joe Peters was in that. 3 of the top 8 were from their play area and their play group. It really shows that they're putting the work in. They're learning the new version of the game and really taking to it. So you better watch out. Team Seattle is here to play. And guys, it is, we are looking at the time. It is just past 1 a.m. These guys have fought a grueling battle. They have been here since 10 a.m. this morning. well over a 12-hour day of OverPower. And Andrew Taylor, Andrew the Prodigy, is the OverPower National Champion. What a great day, everybody. I'm going to sign off and get some sleep, and I cannot wait to bring you Season 1. We have so many exciting things in store for you. Skybound Overpower is about to be printed. It's going to completely shake up this meta and offer so many new decks. Top Cow is in the works. It's just such an exciting thing. If anyone wants to stay with us, I'm going to run over and do a quick interview with Andrew and just get some of his thoughts on the end of the day. Yeah. What? My hair? All right, guys, we are here at just past 1 a.m. after a grueling, 15-hour tournament for a 15-hour day. Andrew, you just carved through a field of the 63 toughest players in OverPower to be the first national champion of the game in over 25 years. How are you feeling right now?
Feel pretty great. I'm ready to start a tournament if anyone's down to play.
Hey, we got some. We did have some side events going. I don't see them going on.
Playing those.
We do have this great trophy for you. So awesome. This is your national championship trophy. It's for the 2025 season. I think it's in there a little backwards. Season 0. How long have you been playing now? Because you didn't play the game originally back in the day, right?
I did a little bit with my dad, but we played it wrong and infrequently. So I've been playing seriously for a little while, a couple years now.
And how old were you back then when you were playing?
Oh, he showed me when I was 4. Yeah.
But you've been really back into it, what, about 2 years now? Yeah, so you had to go through, what's it like when you sit down against someone like a Phil Keffer or somebody that's been playing this game for 40 years, who's won dozens and dozens of tournaments? What's your thought process going into these matches now?
Yeah, I mean, it's anybody can win an OverPower. It's there's enough luck, enough variance, enough, like I do a little table talk here and there. Anybody can beat anybody. I've seen that the whole way through. So I just try not to get intimidated by the big names. And plus, I've watched a lot of their games, so I kind of know a little bit how they play, and they don't necessarily know how I play. So it's a little tiny edge.
So that's one thing I did want to ask. How much? So we have a lot of new players, and the new players have gotten up to speed so quickly. Mm-hmm. How much do you feel that the footage and being able to watch the gameplay helps you get ready and helps you improve in the game?
It's very helpful. Yeah, I've watched all the tournaments multiple times. We have Discord very active where people play across the country with each other. Pop into those games. Practice with our group in Seattle. So lots of reps, lots of watching, absorbing information, and that definitely helps at least a little bit.
Well, it's certainly paid off. You've made it through this entire day. You've got a trophy. Now, we've got something else nice here, so I'm going to take this trophy, and we've got a little special presentation over here that we're going to do on camera. Keith Bursack is going to bring it in and hand it to you here. This is the big check for Andrew Taylor for $12,500. First prize. So bring it in here. We'll hold it. Bring it right back in, guys. Get up to this line. It's a big check. We got to do the big check. You also tell us a little bit about why you wore the Galactus t-shirt, for those who might not know.
Galactus just seems to be good luck for me. I don't really know why, but yeah, I won a tourney with him. He was said to be unplayable, and long story short, the new game I was playtesting, and they said that, the teamwork's being forced seemed to be pretty fair. So I was like, we're going to a legacy event. They're all 6s. That seems pretty unfair. So how many can I jam into a deck? And that's kind of how Galactus was born.
And enough to win.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks. You've been such a great competitor. Certainly earning the name Andrew the Prodigy Taylor. And we're going to be really looking forward to see once Skybound drops what kind of decks you guys are all going to come up with. So I'm going to let everybody go home now. It's after 1 a.m., but congratulations again. Congratulations to Thomas Keene, our second-place guy. Thanks, everybody, for being with us tonight. And we're going to be back starting in March with some NAOL events, so we get a little bit of a break. But before the end of next month, we're going to be right back with the new season. Good night, everybody.